Good morning. How I kind of clicked the live button on April 11th. Welcome to our coffee conversation this morning. And I'm way too chipper because I had no sleep whatsoever last night. I'll talk about that in just a second. Good morning.
Good morning.
I haven't really talked to you this morning.
You haven't.
Because we didn't even sleep together.
You've been cleaning up
Scooch
puppy poop.
on all night. Good morning, Tammy. How are you, sister? Tammy got snow.
Yeah.
No, that's not funny. That's not even nice. But anyways, welcome to coffee with us this morning. If you're just joining us for the very I won't apologize for what I say. But anyways, once a week we just get together and have coffee with friends and family. That's pretty much it. We don't have anybody around here in our little circle that we hang out with, and I miss our community when we moved here off grid. So we kind of just get together once a week and have coffee and just chit chat about what's been going on. But today I always say that we don't script anything. We don't script anything. And we generally don't even have a plan what we're going to talk about. However, today I do.
Today you do.
Did you know that? That we have an actual plan of what we're going to talk about? First, I got to share. If you haven't seen, we just got a new puppy yesterday about 3 o'clock. Well, it was actually more like 4. Her name's Athena, and she is a livestock guardian dog, a female mate for Aslan. And I posted a puppy picture in the other group, and you should have them trained. You shouldn't, the parents should be trained in it. I had a lot of people offer some advice. I really wasn't asking for advice for the post. I was just sharing a cute puppy picture. But some people just feel inclined to educate others, and I appreciate that. Sometimes. Other times I don't. But I'm still just, thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. So if I ever kind of, you just give me this plethora of information of unsolicited advice, and I just do like a little smiley face or something, and I don't really reply, thanks for sharing. A lot of times I write thanks for sharing because I really appreciate y'all sharing something. So I guess that was a little confusing. You'd have to know me. It's the difference between bless your heart and bless her heart. See?
I don't get it.
Sorry. But are you sketched up in got this new highfalutin, high cotton mic that I need to, I don't even know why I hadn't used it. I hadn't even opened it out of the box. Oh yeah, I did. They look like there's clown noses in them.
There you go.
So today we're going to talk about the rising cost of construction material and how to save on them. Because I think this is huge. I think it shows, one, where our country is at this moment. 2, everybody's getting the stimulus money, right? And so people are going out buying stuff that they've never been able to afford to buy before, or doing projects. They have the bridge gap. It's not a bridge, it's a gap between supply and demand. So demand is outrageous. Supply is minimal. A year ago, June, it is like that particle compressed wood chip board. Are you with me? You act like you hadn't got sleep. You're not the one that stayed up all night with a puppy. It was me. The puppy was barking in her cage at 1 o'clock in the morning and had been barking for an hour because I would hear him go, oh, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not willing to get up and do anything about it. So I kept saying, well, should I bring her in here? What good is that going to do? And then I'm like, should I go lay in there? I don't see where that would help. So I'm like, well, bump you.
Oh, man.
See how good that sounds? I said, I'll get up so at least one of us can sleep. And I did. And he's sitting here yawning. Anyhow, I didn't get any sleep.
Still didn't get no sleep.
You? Please. I heard you snoring from the other room. And you slept in. On top of that. That's why I look like that. Anyhow, a year ago, OSB. So it's the cheapest of the cheap plywood. And what do people use OSB for?
Start fires, break it up, and just throw it away. You can turn a piece of 7/16 into like a piece
Okay,
of
would
1
you
inch.
shut up?
Leave it out in the rain. That's how you
We're
get.
trying to be helpful.
That's how you get a 1-inch board out of a 7/16 board.
Of
You
OSB.
leave it out in the rain.
Anyhow, for practical information, people use it for sheathing. They under the roof. They use it. We used it in Polly's Island to add strength to our walls. And I think you wanted something to nail the board back into.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically for anything that you want to frame up and cover, and
Yeah. So your other thicker plywoods would be for your floor, or making cabinets. And some people do use the heavier plywood for roofing, for the sheathing.
Yeah.
It's expensive and heavy.
Yeah.
We always did it because it was cheap. Other stuff on it.
Other stuff on top of it.
And
like siding.
A lot of people around here, build dog houses and stuff out of it. Just leave it like it is until it rots.
And paint it. I mean,
paint it and seal it. Because it was the most affordable option for plywood. A year ago, we had to buy some, or we bought some, and it was $8 a sheet in June. Not even a full year, less than a year ago. And now that same stuff is going for $38 a sheet. Insane. Ouch. Plywood at Home Depot for $95. It is saying that our connection is unstable until wait while it tries to reconnect. So I don't know if you've heard that or not. But 3/4 inch plywood for rise. And this, y'all, it's not just the wood. Oh, yesterday, just what do you call them? 93 stud?
Mm-hmm.
Not yesterday, 2 days ago, $7 for a stud, a single stud. Yeah. We used to pay $1.98, and not even that long ago, a year ago, $1.98. So can you scratch my back? Left, up, wait. Okay, sorry. The wind's really picking up outside.
It's picking everything up and blowing it away.
Is it really? Anyhow, and so what are people going to do that have to do construction? I mean, people that are taking on new projects, and it's tough. You can't, it don't matter how much stimulus money you get, if the prices have quadrupled and even more in less than a year.
Yeah, it's going to eat it right up. I mean, you got to be smart.
It doesn't spread far at all. But what do we do with all these building projects that we have? I mean, there's a lot going on. You've been waiting for a long time to get your roof fixed, or your addition built, or some people are just starting to build a house. Matter of fact, one guy that we talked to several months ago during this whole COVID thing, he drives a flatbed truck and he worked in a construction site. And he said that they gave a bid for $50,000 and they got hired less than 3 weeks later. The price of lumber had increased so much that bid now went to over $80,000 for the exact same job. It jumped over $30,000 in less than a month, and the homeowners could no longer afford to build.
And that wasn't for the labor; it was for the
materials.
Yeah.
Now we're getting ready to go into hurricane season. What happens? Because there's going to be a hurricane that's going to hit, and everybody buys that plywood to board up their homes, and then you have the damage. So I don't foresee construction costs. Matter of fact, construction prices, much like the stock market, they vary every single day. You could call and get a bid today, and that's not going to be the price tomorrow. Now, a lot of contractors that have bids out, they know this, so they cushion their bid just a little bit, but they don't cushion it for the growth that we've seen.
Not for stuff.
Not for stuff to triple.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a little cushion. So, I remember that talking to Ramsey and stuff down back in Polly's Island Lumber. about the prices, and he goes, let me check the lumber price today. It's different every day. And they have to adjust their prices even for stuff that they have in stock. So thankfully we've been in the construction business. Those may not have known it. Maybe you did know it. Most of you guys have known me and Timmy for a while. We had a contracting business that we did for almost 20 years in South Carolina, and that's why he was able to build our house. He's never built a house before, but he had the knowledge base to help him. Maverick, you haven't done a lot of this stuff before, have you?
No, I've been on a boat all my life.
No, I just said we had a construction business for almost 20 years. You're 56.
Well,
you have not been on a boat your whole life.
I have no prior knowledge to the construction business
before we started this. Yeah, but thankfully he's talented.
But working with a couple of smart people, and
scooch in just a little bit
being one of those type of people who just kind of go with it and use your common sense and you figure it out. I was able to get to where I am now.
Thankfully. Are you done coughing and hacking and stuff? We're a married couple, can you tell? So anyhow, not only have we been contractors, but we've also been pretty broke our whole lives and very, very frugal. And even when we had a decent amount of money, at one point for a very short period of time when we sold our house, we were still extremely frugal because we know how quick it goes, and it did. And I like to recycle. We're eco-friendly, and we're both. I think we both have that. We can see something that's either broken or people are throwing away, and we can look at it and go, I can use that for something else. Yeah. Do you feel like you're like that? I know that you're like that.
Yeah.
Because you wanted a broken something and you wanted to tinker with it.
Repurpose.
Yeah. Which I think is recycle as much as we can. That said, over the years, we have found some pretty neat ways to save money in construction. And we've never, knock on wood, taken out a loan for anything that we needed to build. If we didn't have it, we didn't do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, if it was important enough, we would just give it some time, and it always
and save.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times too where we would see something, things like that we've done that have really helped us save. Now, I always say you can do one or two things. You can have it fast, or you can have it cheap, but you can't have both. Right?
Yeah.
If you want it done quick, you're going to pay out the nose. If you want it done cheap, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to put in hard work, and it takes time. So if you want any of these frugal saving tips, instruction, grab your pen. We'll go over them. Do you want to touch a big coffee while they're waiting?
I was gonna say something about and wanting and needing.
Yeah.
A lot of times there's things that we want to do that
I'll be right back. I need coffee.
You might think it makes a lot of sense, and you give it a little bit of time, and you kind of like, I really didn't need to do that. So it saved you a lot of money, and it saved you a lot of time. So I like not jumping into things too quick sometimes, and just letting, if it's something that we need, usually God reveals that to us, and it usually works out. But most of the time, the things that we want, we just kind of stew on them for a while, and they either disappear, or you finally figure out that I really didn't need to do that. So I don't like getting in a hurry. Amber does. If she wants something, she's like, "Come on, let's do it now." So I kind of, I'm ragging on you a little bit.
Yeah, I like action. I don't like to sit
Yeah,
stew
well,
about
I
nothing.
mean, a lot of times
I
kind of roll with that.
You say that now that I'm here.
No,
Was he
I was
saying
just
behind my
saying
back?
that there's a lot of things that we want, and there's things that we need, and we just sometimes just kind of give it a little bit of time and realize that the things that we wanted, we really didn't need it. So,
As an example?
just building stuff and having to tear it back down, or either just, we just decided we didn't need it, or
he decided it was too hard to do and he didn't feel like messing with it. So I just quit wanting it. Because I know I can't do it. Well, I could. Don't get me wrong. I'm capable. I just leave that in his department. So anyhow, money saving tips. Now, a lot of these things too, I'm assuming that you are doing your own construction. Because if you're having to hire it done, yeah, it's not going to work. Because it's just not going to work. A lot of contractors and stuff, they're slammed. They don't take on little jobs, and they dang sure don't take on recycling jobs.
well, I mean, if anybody out there in the industry today, they want to make money because everything costs more, so they're going to do everything they can to make as much as they can. So
Anyhow,
it's going to be a high price
to save money. So some of the things that we have, and some things you can't save money on right now. For instance, plywood. I mean, we don't know how to prefab plywood. However, we have some good tips. So a lot of people don't realize this. Most lumber companies have what they call a boneyard, especially if you deal with a smaller scale. Like, forget the big box stores. Even though big box stores do have it, but go to like your 84 Lumber or your mom and pop lumber places, your local lumber yards have a boneyard. And in the boneyard, what they are is pieces of wood that have either warped, turned silver from being left out in the sun. There's a piece broken off of it, and that's called your boneyard. So back in the day, we got to build for the addition on our house. And of course, this is one of those times that we bought a bunch of wood and we just let it sit and sit and sit. By the time we went to go use it, a lot of termites had gotten in it. But we had bought, I want to say they were 11-foot 2x6s. And we got them for 50 cents a board. 50 cents a board. Now, those same 11, the other day, what?
firewood.
Well, we didn't use it all for firewood. We did use it. But we were at, was it Lowe's or Home Depot? When we were in Morristown?
Yeah.
Home Depot. And I can't remember, it was a 12-foot, it was a 12-foot board, but I can't remember how wide it was. It was $42, which is insane for one board. And I remember looking, I said, oh, those look like the same size that we use for our rafters for the porch. But anyhow, so for instance, if you go to the lumber, they're orphans. I'm not quite sure every place calls it different, but one of the lumber yards that we worked with called it a boneyard. They're Charlie Brown section. Nurseries have that too. And they're like, yeah, it's out there. Go pick what you want. And either a lot of them will give it away or just charge a couple pennies trying to recoup some of their loss. Same thing with windows. Is a lot of places, like for instance, Polly's Island Lumber, they would have windows that went in a house and they were the wrong size and they can't send them back. Or windows that the customers paid for that they never picked up. Or windows that, what were some of the other things? Like warranty issues and things like that. But we got all of our windows, I would say all, 99.9% of our windows at a fraction of the cost doing them that way. Right? Oh, and then we also one time bought a display piece at Home Depot, the little one for our laundry room, because they weren't going to get that size anymore. That is one way that we saved on windows. Another way is Craigslist and Facebook Market. Those are great places to look for resources. And if you watch the build of our home, or even if you didn't, we have windows all around our house. How long are those? 5 foot by something?
They're 2 feet, 2.5 feet wide by 5 feet long.
5 foot by 2.5 foot. And we turned them sideways. So we took doors that we bought that were damaged, and that is tempered glass and it is insulated. And we removed it, and Timmy built a frame, and we had this huge, beautiful, almost panoramic view for I think I bought them for $10 a piece because people were selling them as doors and not windows, and they were broken doors. So I didn't want the door, I wanted the window. They don't open, but we have a lot of opening windows, so it didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a good decision.
Oh, I love it. With a view, there's no way that we could afford that same size window would be $500-$600 getting it at Home Depot or Lowe's to custom order that huge of a size.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that we were able to really save on. And speaking of Craigslist and Facebook Market, I see all the time free building you take down. I just saved a picture the other day with Timmy, and it takes labor, it takes time, right? And how to those, and you need building materials. The one I just showed you, life on it. They had wood handrails, all the siding looked good. They had 2 windows, all of those things. If you can deconstruct it, take your sawzall, take some hammers, nails, your flatbed trailer, and you can get it for free and haul it off. The people just want it gone. But all of those materials could be repurposed and resalvaged.
Yeah, my dad, he built our shop back when we lived in South Carolina. They were tearing down an old liquor store in Georgetown.
Oh my gosh, wait, that's so fitting.
Anyway, I guess he used to stop by on his way home from work, but he stopped by one day and they were tearing it down, and he said, you mind if I, get some of your framing and stuff? They said, sure, take truckloads of lumber. And, before I knew it, he had the shop framed up, and he went and bought some siding and put on it. And, we had that shop for,
forever.
Yeah, 30 years.
That is a great tip. When you see deconstruction or at construction zones at all, or sites, they have a great big dumpster you'll see outside. Well, a little inside information is those contractors have to pay to have the dumpster and have it empty. And they have to pay every time they empty it. So if you come over and building material, do you mind if I plunder through your dumpster? A lot of them will say yes. They'll say, take all you need.
Yeah.
And these people, the contractors, trust me, because we've been in the business for a long time, they throw away good, usable stuff. They'll throw away, because the workers, it's not necessarily the general contractors, the foreman on the job. The workers get lazy, and they'll throw away whole tubes of caulk, gallons of stuff that they had left in the box, and just toss it. And we have gone construction dumpster diving a ton. And they generally, we've always found that the contractor, now don't do it without permission, but the general contractors appreciated it because
by the pound that have the, when they bring a dumpster in, it's they're paying by the pound.
So they're happy to let you. And we have gotten so many construction material stuff they throw out, boxes of nails and everything.
Yeah, I went and camped out one night in there. I stayed there and went through it.
How about this one? This one? Oops. Oh no. There goes my copy.
We were able to get a lot of stuff, and in your mind when you're doing that, you kind of feel funny, but when you're in there and you realize the stuff that people throw away
and the waste. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I got
new stuff, new
boxes of brand new light bulbs, caulk,
all sorts of nails,
wire, all kind of nails, screws,
and we use it,
wire nuts. I mean, it was ridiculous, the things that they were throwing away. Rolls of house wrap, pieces of sheetrock. I was able to take
and it was all free. So that is another way that you can get really good deal. Other things, so we already talked about the going to the boneyard, either at Home Depot or Lowe's, they have them. Back in the day, you know, the wood fence panels that you guys can get, now they're $50, $60, $70 for one of those wood panels, even more, the 6 foot by 8 foot or 8 foot by 6 foot. And they used to sell the broken ones for $10 a panel. And even back then, a new one was like $25 a panel. Well, we would go and buy all the broken panels and buy an extra one. And from that extra one, we took the good slats and replaced the bad slats. Unfortunately, they did get privy over the years of how much money they were losing, and they just paid one of their workers $7.50 an hour to go and do what we did, fix it. But some places still do that. So all you have to do is ask. Yeah. You know, Lowe's and Home Depot, they're another one. If you want to do the big box stores, for instance, what is it now for half inch?
$11.
When's that? That's a couple months ago. It might be tripled by now.
The last time we bought it, it was
$11. So there's damage. Every time you go, you will see, if you pay attention, there is a section in sizes sometimes, but they'll go for like $2 a sheet, $3 a sheet. Yeah. So you're saving over 50%. And sheetrock's easy. Damaged sheetrock's easy to repair. Easy to repair. Put some mud, cut the bad part out, and then just go to town. Let's talk about roofing. The top that goes on the top of your house that protects your house from all the elements.
I don't know. Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff we get's recycled and it's repurposed, and it's been on a barn or something, and you know.
There we go, honey. You got it. We use recycled barn tin on our home and pretty much every project around here. And what is the difference between the tin that we have on our house and stuff you get at Home Depot and Lowe's, other than the price?
It's a heavier galvanized metal. It is. I mean, it's nothing like the tin that you buy today. Is what they call Galvalume. It's a mix. When I picked it up, one sheet, it felt like 2 or 3 sheets together
of the other stuff.
That's how heavy it is.
And now we pay, so there's a lot of places that sell it. A lot of times they're selling it for like decor for all of these mountain homes. They love that rusted tin. But once they realize that you're using it to actually put it on a roof and repurpose it, they'll get you the stuff that isn't so rusted, and it's generally cheaper than the rusted stuff, believe it or not. So you're paying anywhere, you can expect to pay anywhere for the recycled barn tin, $1 to $2 a foot, a linear foot. And they're 2 feet wide.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a 2-inch burn. But anyhow, regular tin that you get at Home Depot and Lowe's is like $11 a foot. So there's a huge, huge, huge savings with that. Matter of fact, we just ordered 6, and it's long for $350, which is a lot. That's a huge amount of tin for just a little bit of price like that. Can you think of any other way that they can save on roofing material?
You can make your own shingles.
Yeah, you can about building material. So lumber. Let's talk about lumber for a minute. We have a sawmill, as most of you may or may not know. And now you do have to check your building and zoning requirements, because some areas do not allow you to build and get a permit for a build, I should say, if you're using green lumber. And there are reasons for that. I guess back in the day, a lot of contractors would go and mill or get milled lumber, and they'd build the house and close it in, and it was still green, causing huge mold and health issues. And the unsuspecting buyer would buy the house, and then as the wood dried out, they got mold in their walls and got sick, and yada, yada, yada. So they made a law. No more. Just, we're not going to mess with it. No one can do it. So you're going to have to check your law about that if you need to get a permit to build using green lumber. They want it to be inspected. They want it to be dried. However, if you're one of those people that live in an area with no building and zoning, or if you don't need a permit to build, then green lumber is a great way to do it. However, those mold issues are still there. You gotta let it dry. But you can save a fortune by milling your own lumber. If you don't have a sawmill, what can they do? What did we do with Dan Pete?
You can hire one out. He charged about $200 per
thousand linear foot.
Linear feet, yeah.
$200 for
That was
1,000 linear feet.
That's pretty reasonable.
Which is very, very
I
reasonable.
don't know if his prices are still the same.
I'm sure. Well, I don't even think he's doing it anymore since his wife passed. But there's a lot of people that have sawmills. You'll see them all over. Again, I exist in Facebook or you're classified that will bring their portable mill to you. I can't even say generally what they cost because we did look at some. We got a local recommendation when we had Dan here before we got our sawmill. And one other option is if you don't have lumber to mill and you don't have a sawmill, is to go to a lumber mill, an actual mill, and buy their loads of rough cut lumber, huge pallet of lumber. And what are the different thicknesses? You can choose length, but you can't necessarily choose thickness, and you can choose grade. So the better the grade, the more the money. But what was ours? Do you remember that last one that we got? How much it was?
$150.
It was $150, and it was 1,000.
I think it was anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200
board feet.
Board feet.
And a board foot is this length, not width. So you could have a board that's 12 inches wide, 14 inches wide, 6 inches wide. And the general cut is what, 3/4 to an inch?
Yeah.
3/4 to an inch. And it's all different wood. So you can call and say, hey, what do y'all have available? And they'll say, well, I've got a poplar. And then you can, if you have someone with a flatbed, you can get it, or you can get it delivered, or if you got your own truck. But $150 for that huge pallet. How would you say, what was the height on the pallet of wood?
It's probably about 4 feet high.
4 feet high, and then the lengths of any that were 16. 8 to 12?
Yeah, it was anywhere from, I think ours, the longest board we have is about 10 feet. So.
Oh, okay. And it can be varying, so that is another great way to save on building projects that a lot of people don't know that they can even do. Yeah. Now, sometimes you're still going to need to let that lumber dry. And if you have a planer and you really want it smooth, you don't want the rough cut stuff, you just put it through a planer and you can smooth it out like a baby butt. Oh, goodness. Wait. Oh, sometimes, too, you can save at construction projects by looking for the same item, but that's titled differently, if that makes sense. For instance, if you go to the store, rocket stoves.
Yeah.
No. Pellet stoves.
Pellet stoves.
They're expensive, right? But the exact same thing is used for horse bedding. So if you go to the horse bedding department in the feed store, that's cheaper. For the troughs,
the label on it is what determines the cost.
Price. Yep. You just got to look for the same thing, and it's called something different. For instance, we wanted a feed tray, like a water dish for our pigs. Well, they're $50, $150 for those troughs. And we went and I looked at it, and they're black and they're plastic. I'm like, why are they so much money? So we went and went to Home Depot, or we went to Lowe's, and where you mix the concrete stuff up in, same thing, same product. It was like $10. Seriously. And Timmy just built a frame for it. And there we have the very, very affordable feeder. So sometimes it's just labeling that can help you save money, where.
And I think the one that you buy from like Lowe's or Home Depot is probably a better product because I mean anything you mix concrete in
holds up.
It's going to hold up. Good,
Oh, I think our last tip outside of the ones that we've talked about already is wholesale warehouses. So they are a thing, and we actually purchased a lot of our stuff around here when we built this addition. The wholesale warehouse in Tazewell. You just got to look for them. I found this one because they were advertising. I didn't even know it was a business. We got our we got our plywood for our flooring, for our subfloor, the same way from a guy. He owns a mattress shop, but somehow we just started getting into the lumber business, and he was selling it for a fraction of the cost. So we went and got it from him. There was nothing wrong with it. And but as far as the wholesale warehouse though, now some of their stuff it's a warehouse because they get the leftovers from everybody else. They get the bits and pieces, or again, something's just a little bit wrong with it. But you want to talk about some of the lumber that we got from them? Then they have notches in one of them.
Well, some of the wood that we got is more of a third grade.
C grade. Like if you're a grade at A, B, or C.
Yeah.
A would be the quality of grade if you're going to have the wood exposed. B is a really good grade, and C is like there's imperfections.
So in the stuff, and it's a decent price, you kind of cull through it and use all your good stuff, and use your stuff that's got notches in it and knots
as your cut pieces.
Yeah, for
on the price compared to what you would get in a big box store that you can buy extra and help replace any of the damaged pieces. Wood, we've got those sales for same stuff.
Big savings.
Big savings. It was huge, and we bought a window from them for less than half of what the big box store had because we needed a specific size, and I didn't feel like waiting on Facebook Market.
I know people like to buy straight boards when they go to Home Depot, and they're pulling them out and looking at them, make sure.
All the little kind of crooked ones, they go to the wholesale warehouse.
Something I learned a long time ago: you can take two heavy-duty straight ones. It takes two crooked boards and make a straight. I put them together right.
I wanted to say I had one more really good tip, and we talked so much I completely forgot what it was. And it was about how we it's definitely about construction savings. And now, doggone, I can't remember. If I remember later, I'll just come back to here and post it in the comments. But it is possible this day and age, your wholesale liquidator for your construction materials. Look on Facebook and Craigslist for the free items that you can deconstruct to repurpose. Go to the boneyard in the construction areas. There's also a place, for instance, in Sevierville, the town next to us, that there is a cash only place, and they sell screws and they do sell lumber, and they're cheaper than anywhere else, and they are cash only. It's going to be a lot cheaper across the board than your Home Depot and Lowe's. We compared, as contractors, we compared all the time. And our local little mom and pop place beat the big box stores, bar none, every single time. And you want to shop local. I mean, why put your money in the big corporations anyhow?
Right. And I mean, we've been to Home Depot and Lowe's here lately, and up with trucks and trailers and buying loads of wood. And as crazy as the prices are, they're still buying it, and so
what's your point?
I mean, if you think about a sheet of plywood at $95, we bought 30 sheets, and we paid, I think it was $580 for 30 sheets, and it's $95 a sheet now. So if I went today and bought it, I could buy maybe 6 sheets.
Yeah, no kidding.
30 sheets
I know what we bought 30 sheets for. However, and
but there's people out there that's still going out and buying stuff. It doesn't.
They're the deep pocket people.
Yeah,
we're not deep pocket people, so we're frugal people, and but we've always been this way. So it helps us in this day and time. I'm like, I know I can get that at a cheaper price. I know I can get this at a better deal, or we're not even going to need it. We're not even going to use it. We'll either mill it or buy it used or do without. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's alarming to know that you can go in and buy 5 sheets of plywood now for $500.
It'd be more than that with tax.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, and like I said, it's not going to get any better. And the fact that we all need to, still work on our houses, still work on our homesteads, or even build new structures. We got to figure out ways around this to make it affordable. And that, for instance, the construction, they tore down the McDonald's in the town next to us, tossed it all away, the roofing, everything. And I don't know if they were contracted to do that or not. But I'm certain if someone would have come up there, they could have gone dumpster diving and got some stuff. That's another thing. Your local recycling centers, or we used to call it just our county dump, and they call it recycling centers. A lot of times they'll have a take it area, things that are usable, that are decent, they'll get put where other people can pick them up. And so they have that here, and they had it in South Carolina, and we've gotten a lot of stuff that way as well.
Yeah.
They don't allow you just to go dumpster diving because of the liability issues. So don't try to do that if you don't have permission. But you can get a lot of good, usable things that way. And I think that's it. I think that's all we have to talk about. I think that's all of our construction saving tips, other than the part that I forgot that I can't remember. I'm just trying to think of how we built this house. We had the milled lumber. We did the liquidator place. We did the Craigslist. We did the Facebook market. I'm looking at our French doors right now. We drove to North Carolina and picked those up for a fraction of the cost. We saved $800 by buying them on Facebook Market. And they need to be painted, and the screen needs to be replaced. But that's it. Structurally, it's sound. It's just ugly. So as soon as we paint it, redo the screen, it's good to go. What other? And milled our own lumber. Bought the discount stuff. Bought the wholesale stuff. Bought the recycled tin. We took some stuff with us from South Carolina. What?
Well, a lot of this.
I know.
A lot of this house is nailed together with nails that I brought from South Carolina. One day I was at the recycling, and there was a
5-gallon bucket.
There was a 5-gallon bucket sitting there, and I lifted it up, and I'm like, man, this thing's full of paint. So, I went and I pulled the top off of it, and it was full of framing nails for a nail gun. Same nail gun that I had. So I was able to use a lot of that to put this place together.
Insulation. That's the one that I was going to say. I found someone on Facebook Market during the tornado that hit Tennessee. There was great big warehouses that were damaged. And because they had insurance that paid for everything, they had foam board insulation almost 2 inches thick. And there was nothing wrong with it, but they had to replace it because of their insurance. So this person on Facebook Market was selling it, and they sold it for $10 a sheet. That same stuff at Lowe's during that time, of course, it's gone up now. It was $25 a sheet. So I was saving more than 50%. Mm-hmm. And we went and bought, it's a long story. I don't want to get into it, but we bought 50 panels. Not all of them made it home in one piece. The wind had something to do with that, but we bought 50 panels, and it was enough insulation to do our whole home for $400 because they gave it to us at a discount. If you bought 50, it was $400 because we only wanted 40. I said, well, I can get 10 more if I just say I want 50 for free. So that's kind of what we did. That's probably what put us over the edge.
Right, it is.
However, anyhow, that is another way to save. So I see people are selling those same foam panels all the time. They're recycled. There's nothing wrong with them. You have to inspect it, of course, but it's foam, and it's a great way to get to save on insulation. Yeah. Now I think we're done. Yeah. That was what I forgot. So anyhow, we've been talking for a really long time, y'all, and I'm sorry, but we only have coffee once a week, and this is cold now. So if you want to save on construction materials, that's how to do it. Check your local laws. There's my disclaimer. Don't say, Amber said we could mill our own lumber and build our house. Check your local laws. Ask permission.
And keep your seeds, so you don't have to go out and buy more seeds to grow your garden.
We're not talking about gardening, Joker. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a good Sunday.
Thanks for putting up with me.